All right. Welcome, everybody, to a Friday night live TMAU body odor PATM. But in this particular case, this is halitosis. I haven't done this in some time. I think the last time I did was a couple of months ago within this year. With me, I have a woman by the name of Jamila. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. With this Friday, well, within my typical interviews, I ask you your name and I ask you also your age. So, what age are you?
I'm Jamila. I'm 27 years old, pushing 30.
Pushing 30. And when did this all start for you? At least with halitosis.
Um, well, the first time I ever noticed it, I was working a fast food job. And it didn't start off as my breath smelling like I don't can I cuss on here?
Yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, it didn't start as my breath smelling like shit. Like I would get like I heard somebody say her breath smells like hot dog water. But when I first noticed it, people wasn't saying that my breath smelled like doo doo, but it did stink. I think the doo doo smell came maybe like a few months after that,
Mm-hmm.
but I never noticed it. I think it's more of a spiritual thing because when I stopped pursuing my dream of becoming a professional dancer, that's when the health problems came. That's when I noticed people talking about how bad my breath was.
So, back up a second. So, at the age of 18, you were working at a fast food place and you got comments. What were like the comments that you heard?
Somebody said my breath smelled like hot dog water, but then that's I guess that's when it first started. People was just saying that my breath stink. I have bad breath, some, like stuff like that. They at that point they weren't saying that my breath smelled like shit.
Mm-hmm. And before those times started happening, did you notice anything in particular happening to your body? Like I don't know, like maybe sometimes when I interview people, they'll say like, "Oh, I remember eating like days or maybe months before I had like some type of flu or stomach virus or." I started getting like some type of digestive symptoms that never occurred before. Like, has any of that happened that you can recall before you started hearing comments like, "Oh, your breath smells like this, your breath smells like that"?
Well, all my life, well, I've had like a sugar addiction most of my life, and so I was always constipated. I was always super dehydrated. I always had a dry mouth. So I mean, I can't really pinpoint when that started because that's pretty much been my whole life. And I think the
Mm.
major like serious constipation, and that's why the
So, within that fast food restaurant, how long were you working there?
um it was a few months. It wasn't long
Was it
because I
long?
wasn't even doing good at that job. I was working at that was Freddy's. That's when I first noticed people talking about my breath. I wasn't working there.
Freddy's.
The man she started giving me like 2 hour shifts for one day a week. I was like, I forget this.
Yeah. That's funny because when I used to work at what's it called, Harbor Freight Tools, they started giving me these like, well, I only get 10 hours a week or whatever, and yeah, I started getting limited hours. I don't know if it had to do with the fact that I smelled bad, or also had to do with the fact that less and less people came. I don't know. Maybe it was a combination of both. But yeah, I understand that part. But I guess when you turned eight, you said this happened when you were 18. Were you in school or working toward going to school, or were you just at the age of 18 just solely just focused on just getting a job or staying at a job?
At 18, I had immediately went to college after high school. I think I went the it wasn't the fall semester. I went the following spring semester after I graduated from high school. And so I was going to school for culinary arts. I didn't have to pay for it. I had got a scholarship, and I was
Cool.
distracted up at the community college, and I only went for one semester, and I ended up just I just stopped going to the community college, and so I had kept on working at fast food during that time. Um, so I had stopped going to the community college at 18, and then when I turned 19, I got another scholarship for a cosmetology school, and I
Hmm.
was at Chick-fil-A at the time, and I ended up getting fired from Chick-fil-A. And so I'm like, okay, okay, okay. I was in survival mode. I was like, how am I going to pay my bills? And so I was super worried about my rent and everything. And so I ended up quitting cosmetology school. And
Wow.
then I was tired of working a dead end job. So that's after that. At 20 years old, I went to Job Corps for culinary arts again.
Well, let me say this. So when you were doing pursuing the cosmetology and still working for Chick-fil-A, this is after the other job that you were at, where you started getting comments of how your breath smelled bad or whatever, right? And so when you were working, I guess you were doing so within the culinary arts. The culinary art school, was that before that job that you went to? Because you never really said what the fast food joint was the first time you started hearing comments about your breath smelling bad. What was? Oh yeah, did you say it was Freddy's?
Yeah, it was Freddy's.
It was Freddy's. Yes, yes. Okay. So were you working at Freddy's and doing culinary art school? Um, and were you getting comments even at the school, or was it only or mostly happening within the workforce?
I only heard it one time. Matter of fact, I was working at Freddy's and I was working at the school. I was working in the kitchen at the school at the same time. And I only heard it one time. I had got First I had got the job at the community college in the kitchen, but I only heard one person say that my breath stink. I was working a serving, it was a cafeteria type of setup, and I was on the line and I was serving people. I only heard one comment, and then that's when I started working at Freddy's too. So I was working two jobs at that time. I was working at Freddy's, and I was working at the community college that I was going to school for.
Wow. Wow. So you wanted to actually do cooking and also do cosmetology, but didn't you said that you also wanted to be a dancer? So which one was like your the primary dream that you wanted to be, or your primary career that you wanted to go to?
Actually, I never wanted to pursue cooking as a career. I absolutely hate it as a job. It's very stressful. You're burning yourself all day. The kitchens are very hot. It's a very fast paced environment. My dream was always to become a professional dancer. And as soon as I stopped and gave up, I swear that's when the health problems came.
Oh, interesting. So wow. So I don't know the certain paths of how you can become a professional dancer, but so s- once you gave up on dancing, that's when you felt like all these issues started happening within your halitosis.
Mhm.
Uh, so do you feel like if you pursue it again, it'll all go away?
I know it sounds crazy, but I actually do. I
Interesting.
actually had the smell go away in the past for, I want to say, maybe a month or two.
Hmm.
And well, that's another story. I was in the mental hospital because I tried to kill myself over this issue. And
Mm.
I was getting reactions from people for maybe about a week. After a week that I was in the mental hospital, the smell magically went away. Just
Did
like,
you go to like some type of psych ward?
I wouldn't call it a ward, because in a ward, it's people in straight jackets. It was a hospital, but there was like a mental hospital department inside the regular hospital.
Interesting. So when did that happen? Because maybe that jump to going into the mental hospital is far away from like the initial story that you were telling us. Because you were telling us first you went to culinary school, then you were working at Freddy's. That's when you started getting these the comments, quit the
Hmm.
job. Then you went into cosmetology and worked at ah was that you said some type of Chick-fil-A at the
Hmm.
same time?
Yeah.
Then you dropped out of that, and I don't know what year that was. I think you were like 20. You said at that time.
Yeah, let me lay this out. So, I was working at Freddy's in 2015. That was when I was going to school to um ended up quitting Freddy's because I wasn't getting any hours, and then I started working at Chick-fil-A at the end of 2015. So from 2015 to 2017, I was working at Chick-fil-A. After I got fired from one Chick-fil-A, I got another job at a different location for another Chick-fil-A. And then I had quit early 2017 because I went to Job Corps for culinary arts.
Job Corps, culinary arts, and then within that, were I guess you quit that as well. You just didn't feel like, you know, I'm tired of getting my hands dirty or getting burned or sweating in the kitchen. Like, or how long did you pursue going to Job Corps?
Job Corps was from March 2017 to December 2017. I actually finished that program, and then I have moved back to my hometown and I got a job in a kitchen in a nursing home. And the problems were like the breath problem was getting super, super bad. I was getting like the whole job was talking about how bad my breath was, like how at
Wow.
that, I want to say people were starting to say that it smelled like shit. Like it was a few months after I had started working at Freddy's. And so I know like it was getting worse. Like I was like just simply like I wasn't even talking, like I was breathing through my nose, and people were saying things. And so that was a daily thing for me. So I was like, you know what, I just can't do this. And I had got my car at that time in 2019. I was like, okay, I can't do this. I was like, I'm either going to kill myself or I'm just going to quit this job to stop hearing what people are saying. So I ended up moving in my car. Um, while I was in my car, I worked at Church's. I got a job at Church's Chicken so I could pay the Planet Fitness bill to take a shower up there. I worked there for a few.
Wow. So I get you sort of fast forwarding a little bit. So didn't you just became homeless at this time?
Yeah, I've been unstable like in my living situation since 2019 when I had quit that job and moved into my car.
Wow. I do want to ask you, well, want to read a comment because they have a question that they
Mm.
wanted to ask you. Uh, Quana asked you, were you more active when you were dancing?
I was like the me now is just a totally different person. Like I feel like I've died in a way. Like it's just so heartbreaking. Like I just feel like sometimes I feel like a ghost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Shell, your former self. I wanted to ask you, do you feel that maybe exercising in general might have you noticed if you ever tried to restart exercising, did it help with halitosis anyway?
No, the only thing that helped was when I went to the mental hospital, and the crazy thing about that was I didn't change my diet. I wasn't exercising. They didn't allow us outside, and the smell just magically went away. And I really think it went away because I wasn't stressed out. My anxiety wasn't through the roof. I just wasn't focusing on it. Like I was just acting like I didn't have a breath problem, and it magically went away.
Hmm. And when you said it went away, you're just saying you just didn't hear any comments anymore, or you didn't see reactions.
Both.
Now, when you have this halitosis, do you actually see reactions? Do you see just see people hold their nose, or you just know that someone and you know because someone says, "Oh, this person's breath stinks."
People have their reactions, and mainly the comments. Like if I go outside, I'll hear people talking about it.
Hmm.
People will close their nose, put their hand up against their nose, fan their face. They'll cover their face. Um, but the comments just take the cake. Like the things people say, it's just super crazy. Like now, it doesn't affect me as much as it did before. Like before, I was just completely suicidal.
Hmm. I wanted to ask you, what were all the other type of methods or ideas that you tried to do to fix or alleviate the symptoms? And did you notice some of the methods that you tried helped a little bit, or did none of them try? Or none of them work?
Well, I've tried so many different things. I've been to the doctor. The doctor was just trying to give me um like that professional grade mouthwash or laxative pills. The doctor, well, when I went to the hospital, they didn't really care. And they were actually talking about me at the hospital. One guy on the floor, he said, he was like, what did he say? He was like, she's literally talking shit. Like the whole floor
Mm.
was talking about me when I was in there. Like they didn't really care. They weren't trying to help. I've tried so many different things the natural way. I've tried the charcoal pills mixed with the lemon juice mixed with the psyllium husk and the bentonite clay. I've tried that. I've tried
Bentonite clay. That's funny. I remember that being a trend. But go ahead.
yeah, I've tried mouthwash, hydrogen peroxide as a mouthwash. What else have I tried? Working out, it helps with my stress, but I noticed it doesn't really help with my breath problem. Um, I went to one colon hydrotherapy session, and that was probably the only thing that I did physically that helped, that I noticed that helped at least.
I want to ask more about the colon hydrotherapy, but I also want to read another comment that was a question from
Hmm.
Kwana again. She asked, "Do you smell it yourself? Can you smell it while wearing a mask?"
Well, I've smelled my breath maybe I've had this problem since I was uh
18.
18 or like, yeah, 18. That's when it first started, but I want to say I was 19 when I first like noticed people saying my breath smelled like shit. But so it's been quite a few years, but dang, I forgot the question. What was the question again?
Can you smell it yourself? Can you smell it while wearing a mask?
Yeah, that's the crazy thing. Out of all the years, I've only smelled it maybe I can count on one hand how many times I smelled my own breath, and it actually did smell like shit. But I cannot smell it. Like when I smell my breath, it don't have a foul odor to it. I can't
Right.
smell wearing a mask. I just can't smell what other people are smelling.
Yeah, and another thing I wanted to talk to about people who have like halitosis during the pandemic, where we all had to wear masks. Did you feel like it was a lot easier to move around public while wearing a mask? To like protect if you did have offensive breath? Do you feel like it lowered the 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 offensive smell, or I don't know? Because I'm saying I would assume you didn't really have to communicate as much, so I would feel like maybe you were able to move around a lot better during the pandemic, where everyone had to wear masks. Maybe that's not true.
Well, actually, no. As the years go by, it's just gotten worse. And when I was at that time during the pandemic, I was living in my car, and I wasn't really leaving my car after I had quit working at Church's Chicken because I was so embarrassed by how I smelled, and I didn't want to offend anybody by going in public. So I was sitting in my car most of the day, and I noticed it was getting worse. When I would have to go out in public to get food or get gas for my car, I had my mask on, and I noticed that like people could still smell it from far away.
Mm, I don't know if I asked you this. Maybe I already asked you this, but dietary. Did you do any type of dietary changes? And did that affect it in any way?
I've tried a vegan diet. That didn't really help. I was able to use the bathroom a little more. It wasn't like it still wasn't like how a regular person uses the bathroom, but the vegan diet, I stopped the
What do
vegan
you
diet.
mean by that?
Like a regular person, like they use the bathroom at least once a day.
Hmm.
When I was on a vegan diet, I was maybe using the bathroom like a few times a week, but it wasn't like how it is. I need to drink some water.
Okay, cool.
But it wasn't like how it is on the normal diet that I eat. Like the normal diet, for me, like I'm not able to use the bathroom at all unless I take a laxative tea.
Wow. Now I did. I think I watched a video where there are certain myths about bowel movements, and there is a certain idea that I remember hearing on a video saying that just because you don't take a bowel movement every once a day doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. I think it's well doing if you're only making a bowel movement every couple of weeks, yes, that's bad. But I think it can vary between one a day or maybe once every couple of days. But I need to confirm that. I remember seeing something on YouTube. I think it was like Wired, where there's like a lot of this gastroenterologist would answer a lot of myths that people have. Where is taking a bowel movement bad if you only do it if you don't do it once a day. But yeah, doing it if you only do it once a week or once every couple of weeks, that's really bad. Um, so I did want to go to the hydrotherapy thing. Uh, so you said the only thing that has been effective for you was the hydrotherapy or the colonics. So at what time, what year were you, first off, what inspired you to do the colonics?
I was just, this was when I was working at the nursing home. And I was just like, I was trying so many different things because I noticed my breath getting worse, and people at the job and out in public, like the reactions were just out of this world. And so that's when I was looking at different things. And so I had got into well, I had found out about colon hydrotherapy because I was looking online about, what causes constipation and how I can treat it and everything. And so I was just testing out different things. I had got a holistic doctor, but that didn't work out. So I ended up going to the colon hydrotherapy place, and I had one session. And I've always worked low paying jobs. Like the only people that would hire me were like low paying companies because of this problem. So I've always worked for low pay. And so at the time, um, that was in my hometown here. So they were charging $150 a session for your first session. Then after that, I think it was after your first session, I think it was $110 after your first session. And so I didn't go back because I couldn't afford to go back. I like
Right.
excuses. I could have if I wanted to, but I never really cared about myself that much. And like that's how my breath has gotten this bad because I just didn't care. So the
Yeah.
hydrotherapy, I noticed it helped because I had went back to work after my off days after I had got the colon hydrotherapy, and people weren't really reacting to like me when I was talking and everything. So I noticed that it did help.
Hmm. The colon hydrotherapy reminds me of an interview I did some time ago where a woman who said she had PATM said that doing colonics helped to a degree. So maybe there is something to, yeah, I don't know, putting water through your intestines and flushing things out helps. Maybe it's like resetting the gut. Maybe I don't know. There's some type of bacteria that's building up within your, I don't know, within your digestive system that's causing you to give off this odor. I'm not entirely sure, but I do think it's very interesting because you just hearing that you use colon hydrotherapy or colonics, and then also hearing hearsay about how some people use like fecal microbiota. If you ever heard of that,
No,
basically, to summarize what that is, it's like people get poop from a healthy person and then they insert it in their colon, and the bacteria that's within the healthy poop somehow uh, relieves IBS symptoms. Yeah, it's strange. That's the exact reaction you should get. Or, but that's yeah. Apparently, some people, a few people have had success stories. I don't know these people. This is all hearsay. But when I hear just like stories of, colon hydrotherapy or some type of procedure that has to do with the colon and doing trying to flush it or repopulate it with good bacteria. It makes me think maybe that's a connection there. Um, but yeah, I understand. Like, I definitely understand where you're coming from with the colonics being $150. You didn't have any insurance at the time, right?
I did, but
Yeah,
at the if you're at the some places actually take care credit. That's a credit card, or whatever. But the place I went to, you just had to do it out of pocket. They didn't do any type of insurance, and
yeah,
most colonic places do that.
yeah. So man, and it's crazy that you were living. How long have you been living out your car?
Well, before I totaled my car, I was living in my car from I quit the nursing home job in September 2019. And so I had moved, so I didn't have the money to pay my rent. So I moved into my car in October 2019. And then I was living in my car until January 1st, 2021. That's when I had gotten the accident.
So for 2 years you were living in your car, or almost 2 years.
Yeah. Well, that's like almost a year and a half.
Still a year. Holy crap! That must have been really terrible.
It kind of was because um, after I had stopped working at Church's Chicken, I was just working the temporary job so I can make enough money to, eat, put gas in the car, stuff like that, pay the Planet Fitness bill for me to take a shower. It was really hard because I didn't have the money to, I couldn't afford to keep the AC on in the car all day. And so I was so hot sitting up in that car. Yeah, it was kind of hard.
Yeah, and that reminds me, you live in Texas,
Yeah.
and Texas has like really fluctuating. What I mean, I was gonna say fluctuating temperatures. What I mean by that, like when it gets cold, it gets cold, and when it gets hot, it gets really hot, like in the hundreds of degrees. I don't know exactly the city, but I know like it gets up there to 100 degrees, and when it gets cold, it probably I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe you would be able to tell me, but
When it's
maybe negative something possibly.
it doesn't get that cold in Texas. The coldest it got was probably about 25 degrees. But the thing about living in your car, um, like my setup, I didn't have like the insulation on the windows, so my feet would get really cold when it was cold outside. And so when I walked into the Planet Fitness to take a shower, like when you put the hot water on your cold feet, like your body just feels so numb, and it's not a
Mhm.
feeling at all.
Damn, what the? That's a real struggle, man. You've been going through a lot of stuff for most of your life, man.
Well, in my adult years, yeah.
Wow. And well, you did say you had friends, um, but then you just stopped communicating with them.
Yeah, I mean, as I got older, we, in high school, I stopped, after I graduated high school, I wasn't talking to anybody from high school, but I had a few friends. But, we grew up and did our own different things. And now I don't have any in person friends.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I would naturally think you would try to go to them and maybe split rent or something. But I guess since you just stopped communicating with them, that wasn't a viable option. I did want to read something from the comments. She asks, "Is the odor consistent? Do you think it's worse during your cycle?"
Um, it's, it doesn't get worse when I'm on my cycle. It is very consistent. It's the same. Over the years, it has gotten worse because I feel like as the old waste into my colon, I just feel like the smell gets worse. But over the years, it's just gotten worse. It doesn't really, I don't really notice it getting better. I just notice the smell, people are able to smell it further as the years go by.
Mm, interesting, man. And currently you're living with your mother, right?
Um,
Um,
couch.
what happened?
I'm sleeping on my mother's couch. Yeah.
Yeah, damn. And you told me, I don't know if I should reveal, but you told me like your mother was the type of person by the age of 18, she just wants you out of the house. Like, damn, like I don't know. That really like. So, what made her change her mind
So let's
when you told her you were homeless? I guess.
let's take it back. So when I was 18, I had a chaotic I had chaotic teenage years, and I was tired of living with my mother. So I moved in with my boyfriend at the time, and we had a little domestic dispute. And so I wasn't about to deal with that. So I left and I moved back in with my mother. And she said I could stay with her. That's why I moved back in, because I didn't have nowhere to go. Um, and I wasn't about to live with no man put his hands on me. So I moved back in with my mother. And
Right.
she said I could stay with her. After a few months, I moved in March 2015, and after a few months she said she didn't want to deal with her kids no more. She was just done. And so she told us we had to get out of there. And so she dropped me off at my father's house, and that was the house that I grew up in. And my father, he has to be in control of everything, and so that wasn't going to work out, because I was an adult at the time. So uh like nobody's gonna tell me I can't watch TV, or just simple things. Not like nobody's gonna completely control my life when I'm an adult. So that didn't work out. So he ended up going to court, having me evicted from there. And so I moved in with a
Wow.
yeah. After that, um, I had moved in with a random Mexican family, and I was working at Chick-fil-A at that time. And so let's just fast forward to into
So you were like roommates with them?
yeah, they didn't even have a lot of room. They had like a little daughter. She was in elementary school, and that was her room. And so she had slept in the parents' room, and the mother in the household, she gave me her room to sleep in when I was living with the Mexican family.
Mm, wow. Jesus. So you have like an eviction notice? You have like some type of eviction status on your record or no?
The judge, he actually felt so sorry for me, and so he didn't even put it on my record.
Okay, that's good. Because it's like, man, if you got the eviction status or something like that, it's going to be even harder now to find like an apartment, eh, you know, because that's going to be on your record for like the rest of your life. I think that's how it works. Maybe it's not, but yeah. So, oh, there was another question that someone wanted me to ask you. She asked, does she have a family around, and if so, how do they react towards her?
I'm the black sheep of the family. The only family I did talk to was my father, my sister, my mother, and my brother. But they can't smell it.
Hmm. Yeah, that's the same with me. The wrecked family cannot smell it, but everything outside of that, like cousins, uncles, even like my grandparents, I believe, they can smell it. At least as I started to age more with this condition, so I we're somewhat of the same. Um, and currently, since you're living with your mother, I think you were getting something. You were trying to get something. I forgot what it was.
Yeah, so I was trying to well, I was it's just so many different obstacles. So I was trying to get my birth certificate. So that came while I'm living with my mother, and then I was able to get my ID. And so in a few weeks I'll just be catching a flight to another state to start my life over and get back on my feet. And so I have a at home colonic system getting delivered from Amazon. And so during these few weeks, I'm gonna, get this waste out of my body so I can at least be, presentable for when I go out in public, so I can start to look for a job when I move.
And what state are you planning to go to? Why do
Nevada.
you to where?
Nevada.
Nevada. What's in Nevada?
Las Vegas.
Oh, you're going to Vegas.
Hmm.
That's interesting. You think you're going to be able to become a dancer in not Vegas or something? You're trying to be a burlesque a burlesque dancer?
Not a burlesque dancer. I just feel like it's a fun place to be. And I'm just ready for something new. I do want to start pursuing my dance career. I'm tired of working these dead end jobs.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I only been to Vegas. I only been to Vegas like for a couple of days, so I don't know the ins and out of it. But it's expensive. I do know it's expensive. Um, uh, I don't know how much homeless there is, but I did notice there was homeless when I was there, and it's very hot. I don't know. I don't know which one is hotter, Vegas or the city that you're living in within Texas, but it was very hot in Vegas. And you're the thing that's really sort of upsetting is that you're going to go to a homeless shelter. Your plan is to go to Vegas and then go to a homeless shelter and then try to find a job. Is that what? Am I getting this correct?
Yeah, I mean, I gotta get back on my feet and learn how to be independent again. I'm tired of just living off of people.
I mean, it's fine to live with family. I mean, so with I know you said that you lived with your brother for a short term. What stopped you from still staying with him? Was it because you felt like you were interfering with his life? He probably had a girlfriend, maybe had a girlfriend or something.
Well, I just felt like I was a big burden on him. He had a one bedroom apartment. I was sleeping on his couch. And the place, I don't want to talk bad about him, but the place, it was really dirty. It wasn't like livable conditions. And, you know, when like you're down and out, some people feel like they can treat you any type of way. And I was like, okay, because I was living in his apartment for like 2.5 years. So I was like, okay, it's time to, I gotta, like, what's the next step? I have to do something. I can't just
Right.
keep on staying up in this apartment all day, not doing anything.
Right. Yeah, that's true. When the people feel like you're dependent on them, they are they're gonna look down on you. And then once you finally get on your feet and you become self reliant, now they want to talk to you again and ask how you doing and et cetera, et cetera. That happened to me with my mother. Like she wanted me out of my house. When I finally got like a career that paid a living wage and moved out and had my own place, now he's like, "Oh, why don't you talk to me anymore? Why don't you come visit and stuff like that?" But that's a whole nother story. Back to you. Um, man, the thing is, so your whole aspiration right now is to try to become a professional dancer. Um, and move to Vegas. Is was the motivation to move to Vegas because you heard that there was a lot of professional dancing opportunities there, or no?
I just, I was like, okay, where am I gonna go next? Because I can't stay with my mother because she don't want me here. So I was like, I'm tired of living in Texas. I'm ready for something new. And I was like, okay, why not Vegas? I had went there a few days when I was 19, I think, and I liked it. So I'm like, okay, why not just go back there?
As simple as that,
Yeah.
man. Hmm. Well, let me ask you this. So I guess the plan currently is, all right, go to Vegas, go to a homeless shelter. They're going to give you some type of opportunity to do some low wage paying job, and then you're going to try to figure out a way how you can transform that into getting like a dancing career. Um,
Well,
do
the
you have like a plan B? if plan A doesn't work as how you want?
The job, any job I get is just temporary. I hate working for people. And so during that time, I'll just work on an online business. And um, I just want to pursue dance. So I'm just going to work the job temporarily.
Hmm. Hmm. Now, there's another thing I wanted to say. I think there are a few people who actually live in Vegas that have this odor. Well, they don't really have halitosis, but they also have this, like, I guess, undiagnosed condition where they give off an odor that they cannot detect. Hopefully, I don't know their names or even their information, but hopefully, if they see this video, they can maybe email you and connect with you, because I know maybe there's two people that actually live in Vegas. Uh, Maybe they can lend a hand or something like that. I also know that there's a few people that actually live in Texas that have this weird undiagnosed condition. Matter of fact, I think there was I forgot this woman's name, but it was in a live space I had, a group space I had, and she was in her early 20s. I think she lived in Dallas. I don't know how far Dallas is to you. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's sort of it's sort of sad to hear people going through like homelessness and homeless shelters and stuff because of this condition. I mean, naturally you I would naturally think that you'd be in a better position in your life if this never occurred. At least graduate from culinary school or cosmetology, or maybe, hopefully, I don't know, and then get a pretty good living wage to maybe move on to the next step. But now, I guess with this halitosis thing, it derailed everything. Now you're like in. I don't know if you feel like you're in desperation mode, but seems like this is like desperation mode. How do you feel about the current, I guess, state situation?
I feel like I'm in survival mode. And I hate being in survival mode. I've been in survival mode my whole adult life, and I just hate it because when you're in survival mode, it's hard, it's impossible to be in creative mode. So, me as a dancer, as an artist, I can't be in my creative mode when I'm thinking about how I'm going to pay my bills. So, it's really stressful. I'm very stressed out. But the good thing is, I'm not suicidal anymore.
Hmm. And can I ask, like, the process of becoming a professional dancer? Is it similar to some careers where you have to have some degree, or like how does one become a professional dancer? And when I think about professional dancers, I'm not gonna lie, I think about strippers. So are you suggesting stripping? And if it is, that's okay. I'm just saying, like, I do know, like, there's interpretive dancers. The only type of dancers I think of are like interpretive dance, ballerina like dancing, or strippers. There's probably like so much more, since I'm not actually within that industry or knowledgeable about anything within that world. But what I guess what particular form of dancing are you interested in, and do you know if those opportunities are available in Las Vegas?
Well, I don't want to be a stripper. I like hip hop, modern dance. I like salsa, just every type of dance besides country line dancing. Um, I feel like, well, I don't really like to be a professional dancer. You don't have to go to school for it. A lot of people do, but you don't have to. You just have to get professionally trained, like go to a dance school. You can learn online too. There's some apps that you can use to learn online. But the process of being a professional dancer, you just get trained, and a lot of people they try to find dancing jobs like get hired for commercials or um, like celebrities, like background dancing and stuff like that. Or some people just do it on social media. I just want to be a social media person. I feel like I'm the star. I don't want to dance backstage to anybody.
Okay, interesting. Mm. Yeah, I mean, there are more. I do feel like there is a lot of matter of fact. When I went to Vegas, there was a show. There was like a Michael Jackson show. I forgot what it was called, and there was a lot of like it was pretty much just like a whole dancing thing, where there
Mhm.
was like a Michael Jackson tribute. It would play remixes to Michael Jackson songs, and there would just be tons of dancers. So I do think there might be more opportunities in dancing than anywhere else because there's always shows, and within these shows, it's probably going to be some acrobatics, some dances, or some type of choreographed thing going on. So yeah, I mean that is a possibility. I don't know if there would be any better place, any better city than Las Vegas. The more I think about it, maybe New York, but New York, I think New York is even higher, has even higher prices than that than things in Vegas. Um,
Yeah, I'm not paying 4,000 a month for a studio apartment. No, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, so you have you looked into the prices of Vegas as well?
Yeah, they're not like they're way cheaper than Los Angeles. So I was like, okay, Vegas is cool. It's only 5 hours away.
LA, yeah, LA is another place, but LA is super packed. Um, Another question that's within the comments. Does she dance on TikTok?
No, I don't. I think I put one dance video on my TikTok. It got 28 views. But TikTok, I grew an account on there before. It wasn't in dance, but I don't really like TikTok. It makes my head go crazy. It's just the short videos. I can't stand it.
Oh, that's another thing. I'm not really big into TikTok, but I do know I watched something about like some type of news story about how a lot of big personalities on TikTok got big because of doing dance routines to popular songs and stuff. Was that like one of the things that possibly motivated you to want to be a professional dancer, or were you thinking about this way before these like viral videos of choreographed dancing that you would see on social media platforms?
No, I've wanted to be a professional dancer since I was 10 years old.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the more I think about it, I guess you could technically uh, bring more presence to your to yourself by doing these choreographed dances based on whatever popular song that's out. I think that's how a lot of people get on. A lot of people get at least some eyes on them and say, "Oh, who's this? Who's this woman? Who's this man who can do this dance?" You know, maybe that could help. Um, but yeah, the colonics, that is very interesting. Have you ever tried probiotics by chance?
Yeah, that didn't do anything.
Or they didn't do anything for you?
Mm-mm.
All right. So dieting didn't do anything. Probiotics didn't do anything. What form of probiotics did you take? Did you take any type of like, did you take a capsules? Did you take some type of food-based probiotic like kefir, kombucha, etc.?
I did the capsules. It was probiotic capsules, and then I had got yogurt that had added probiotics in it.
Yeah, yogurt doesn't have that much bacteria within it. Um, okay. Hmm. So man, yeah. Hopefully, well, I'm going to ask the comments um, if there's any other questions you want to ask Jamila. The time is now. I think I've asked a lot of other all the things I wanted to ask. If there was, ooh, let me say this: if there was somebody that was still in Texas that was willing to, I don't know, partner up with you in terms of getting a joint apartment, would you do that as opposed to just flying all the way out into Vegas and hoping for the best?
No, because it's it would be a nice thing for people to do, but I don't know these people at the end of the day, and I'm just ready to um, be independent. I want to live by myself.
Hmm. Okay. I do get a comment. I do see a comment here, and she says, "I'm late to the live. Has she tried Castile soap for halitosis? Is popular on Reddit."
I haven't tried that, but I don't think that that would work. I was doing the coconut oil pulling. Probably something similar, but I just think the problem is I have a lot of backed up waste in my colon. That's what I think the problem is.
Hmm.
I don't think that would help.
Another comment says, so she mentioned that she's seen a doctor before. What kind of doctor? ENT doctor to check her sinuses?
It was just a regular physician that I saw when I went to the doctor.
Mm, yeah, usually primary care physicians are not going to be that knowledgeable by anything. Uh, I did want to ask this. Can I share your, if I could, if anybody wants to contact, would you allow me to share your email? So if anybody wants to contact you, they can.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, let me see if I can do that right now. And while I am doing that, hopefully there's people within the comment section can ask their final comments.
Okay.
Let's see here. Pasted it. All right. Well, I guess there's no one else to ask any other comments. So, Jamila, so you, is there any type of final, I don't know, commentary, question, I mean, not commentary, wisdom, insight that you would like to give to someone who has something similar to you? Let's say they watched this live stream and say, hey, I completely connect with this person. We have something similar. Is there anything, final words you would like to say to them, or uh, words of wisdom, possibly?
Well, if you're going through this problem, I just want you to know that it's not the end of the world. We still deserve to be treated like we're human beings, not dogs on the street. Um, just know that you will get through it. It's not the end of the world. You can get through it and you will.
Okay. And there's one more question from Kwana, and she says, "Is there anyone that doesn't react to you?"
My mother and my brother, they can't smell it. Everybody else can smell it. Everybody else is making comments and uh, closing their nose and fanning their face and everything.
Yeah, yeah. Again, I don't know why that is. Oh, I wanted to ask you this: when you spoke to the primary care physician, were they reacting to you? Do you feel like they were reacting to you when you're speaking about your condition?
Then that was a few years ago. For some reason, the smell would just, I don't know if it magically went away when I went to the doctor then, but um, when I went and asked specifically about that problem, they didn't react. But I remember going to the doctor for something else, and I was talking to the doctor, and I was when I talked to her, she put her fingers in her nose like this. But that was the only time when I went to the doctor. Now, when I went to the hospital back in 2021, that's when everybody was talking about me on the floor.
Mm, yeah, yeah. This is such a strange phenomenon. I don't know. I have an idea, but I don't know. Overall, I guess that's it for interview 41. I thank you, Jamila, for coming on, and I thank for people who are watching and contributing by asking questions. I thank you guys for coming on to be a part of the. I don't know if I should call it a show, but this is Friday night TMAU PATM Halitosis interview number 41, and we're out of here.
All
See you
right.
guys later.
Bye.